Hola, hola, què tal? Com esteu? Tot bé per aquí? Al Molino? Bé, doncs, moltíssimes gràcies per estar aquí en aquesta segona jornada de música i intel·ligència artificial al Molino. Moltes gràcies a la Barcelona Music Lab per organitzar-ho, a tot el suport que esteu donant. I ara ha arribat la part que jo crec que és la menys quadrada i la més divertida a priori, que seria la de la creativitat. Per això tenim a gent molt interessant de l'àmbit de la música, amb qui parlarem sobretot en anglès, perquè és un panel internacional, i llavors la intel·ligència artificial ens ajudarà a traduir-vos el que estem dient. Aviam què tal s'ho fa, amb un anglès que viu a Holanda, un menorquí internacional, un parisino que també té el seu hub a 11 països, i jo, que he nascut a l'Argentina i que ara parlo en català. Però passaré al castellà i després a l'anglès. ¿Vale? The use of AI in music creation. El uso de la inteligencia artificial en la creación musical. Bueno, veremos si es una herramienta poderosa, simplemente, o si es una tecnología disruptiva que ha venido a cambiarlo todo, si, como se decía ayer, es un cambio cultural, un cambio de paradigma o incluso una revolución. Lo haremos de la mano de nuestros invitados. Al lado del... Bueno, el piano está ahí detrás. No sé si Marco lo tocará hoy, que es pianista y compositor, que está aquí en el medio. Hola, Marco, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Yvan Boudillet, al meu costat, que és el cofundador de Music Tech Europe, i el Finn Peters, que és flautista i compositor anglès afincat a Holanda des de fa molts anys. Hello, welcome everybody. Let's get to know your work, experience and thoughts about the use of AI in music creation and especially in your experience. And what you think and what you feel mostly, I would say. Podríem començar per Marco Mezquida, compositor, pianista, improviser, accompanist and band leader, eclectic, versatile, playful and unpredictable artist. Marco creates a world of his own and is at once inviting and fascinating. 3 years ago, at Sonar Plus D, you did a kind of vanguardist experience interacting your music with an AI live and improvising. Could you explain us a little bit how it was and what you feel?
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Well, I'll try to do it in English if I have to say something in Spanish to explain better, because it was a strange
Whenever
and very
you feel
interesting
to change to Spanish, go on.
Really, well, I'm a pianist. I'm a person who plays an analogic instrument, so I love the acoustic. I love the many things from the real instruments. So, and I'm basically an improviser. I love to compose. I love to do interpretation of any kind of music, but my main passion is to improvise from nothing. So the Sonar, the Festival of Electronics and all that, they said to me, Marco, we are really interested to create a project with you improvising freely, but with AI. So you want to do it? And I say, okay, let's do it. And it was very interesting because it was 3 years ago. Now it will be different, I think. It will be better, surely. But it was... The most interesting thing was that I used to play not only the piano, the keyboard, I played a lot of things inside the piano. So there's a lot of different techniques, textures, and different dynamics and different sounds. So the interesting thing was to create my whole world and in the sounds of the piano, and the AI tried to combine and to create new sounds with my music and to recognize every sound and to create another world. And it was arbitrario, I don't know how to say. Random. So at that moment, it was nice because perhaps I was playing the strings inside, like very, very thin sound, and the AI create another amazing sound. And I was improvising after that sound, so it was a real conversation from the moment. And it was nice because they were interested in the free improvisation because, for example, if I play the same but with a back piece, the musician always plays the same but can't do a dialogue with the... So I was doing a whole hour of improvising, and every hour, every rehearsal, every concert was absolutely different. So it was very interesting to discover a real connection and a real conversation. But at the same time, I had to listen very deeply because she, I don't know why, but you
That's
know.
good because there is not much she here.
For me, it was she was. And so in that moment, I had to listen very, very, very intensely because when you play with another human being, he or she listened to me and recognized and sent me another answer that has something to do with my intention. But with the AI, it was absolutely random. So all the time, it was like, oh, let's go here. Wow, let's go here, let's go here. And artistically was really hard. We had to rehearse a lot, much more than with other musicians. So, but at the end, the result was, I think, very interesting.
And could you feel a main difference between her as a machine instead of a human?
Yeah, I could recognize a lot in that moment, yes, because I had to say that creation was a creation by two guys, two informatic people that one of them, he was musician also. So he created a world that was artistically interesting, but one of the things is that Sonar tell me, we want to do a concert. We don't want to do an open rehearsal. So we want the people play 20 euros, so it will be a concert. And I say, okay. If it's a concert, we have to prepare it a lot because I don't want the people arrives here and pay money for listen something is shit, like artistically, you know? So I said, we have to explore all the things that we can explore with this project. And at the end, after 2 months of preparing and giving more to the AI to improvise with me, at the end I say, okay, I think the machine is prepared and me also, because you know, when you are constructing something, you try to create, like here, you try to create phrases that has some logic and that have a process to say, okay, I have end, this is the piece, this is the song. But it's very different when the inputs, it's always very, very, so you have to be like a little bit schizo. So I had to say, okay, let's stay here a little bit more to try to people to go and to fly to somewhere.
We will go back to your experience 3 years ago, piano plus AI at Sonar, and if you haven't seen it already, you can do it on the Sonar's YouTube channel. A creative industry and innovation expert with over 20 years of experience by my side, Yvan Boudillet is the co-founder and honorary member of Music Tech Europe, the European network of music innovators hub. Who is she, and how do you know her, and which are your experiences with her?
Yes. Ooh. So, well, yeah, in a nutshell, I've been working at the intersection of music and technology. Back then, 20 years ago, it was called new media, then just internet, then digital, not tech. In labels, and now with this group of innovators and music tech hubs, including Barcelona Music Tech Hub. And my relationship to AI is more about trying. My role, let's say, and the role of our Music Tech Europe, is to help the ecosystem as a whole to understand each other and talk about the topic in order to make things happen. We are not a lobby, so to speak, but we are a platform of ideas turned into projects. So we facilitate some. We have an acceleration program going on, supported by EU. It's been 3 years, and part of the 10 companies, 3 are using AI, 0 for creation, but so it's not relevant for this topic. But 1 is a company using AI to help with artists with their rider, so to help them to organize better their logistics. So my relationship is being part of dialogue in many different places, many different countries, and to try to observe and understand the fears and the misunderstandings that impede us or stop us to move forward. So maybe it sounds abstract, but I will give you some examples. I was invited in February to moderate, like you, the AI section of a big EU political event in Brussels with all the member states of Europe, all the representative of each segment of the industry, so the songwriters, the producers, the artists, the venues, festivals. And it was quite challenging because the question was already not biased, but it was, what is the problem with AI? Kind of. Mm-hmm. And I brought to the stage one picture. It was, if you search for AI and music on Google image, you have 20 pages of robot playing the piano, like my T-shirt here, Queen and so on. And my question to the audience and to myself and to us today is it really what we see and how we relate to this thing? Is it only a replacement? Is it only Terminator 2 replacing the artist? You are not replaced, as I can see. You've been challenged, and sometimes challenge in improvisation is a good process. But it raised a lot of questions, and yesterday it was, I cannot understand everything in Spanish, really interesting, also the legal aspect and what is at stake with the value of music, the copyright, the respect of artistry. Everything is complicated, but so my relationship is about dialogue. And I think we are in a really interesting time right now, and I really appreciate we have this forum yesterday and today, because we need that dialogue. But it has to be about helping players also not only to be protected, but also to be enabled to experiment in the area at Sona here. Help startups to work with some artists and operas like Pompeu Fabra and researchers to be part of this equation. The challenge to me is not technical. Every digital revolution so far has not been it's not a problem of tech, it's a problem of usage and adoption. And the inequalities are more about skills and capacity to adapt than technology itself. Technology is nothing. So the she is not the problem. The problem is us, our responsibility and how we behave and how we create and we process the rules we define as a group. And it could be EU, it could be local, or it could be values we share. And we're going to discuss that maybe, but if we want ethical AI for music and for creation, it's our responsibility to make it happen as a push, not as a protection. Anyway, but it starts, and I'm so glad you started with those guys, not me. It starts with creativity. It should not be about technical and legal. Legal is a way to protect those guys to live from their work. And so, yeah, I hope it helps, but let's deep dive, yeah.
And thank you, Yvan. And the other musician with us is Finn Peters, a multi-award-winning, internationally recognized saxophonist, flautist, composer, and producer. And his versatile, wild-screen approach to composition and improvisation comes from working with some of the world's most progressive artists. This afternoon, you will gonna perform here on stage with another human musician artists and the AI. So if you can share with us the thing we are going to live with you here.
Yeah, first up, I don't know what's going to happen. I do know, I've worked a lot with Matthew King, who's sat over there, who's a great musician and also working in AI. And I'm a musician and I don't really understand AI, but I started working with live algorithms about nearly 20 years ago. And I guess that's like the beginnings of AI. And it's quite interesting how it's developed. And it's great that you called it she as well. I think that's really interesting. And I've got a question for you. I've got lots of questions. But how, when we started out with live algorithms, and it's a bit like you were saying, Marco, so it's like it would do, the AI back then would do stuff that you really thought was random. But we were trying to train it on my improvisational style or my musical language. And so watching the AI grow up, if you like, in seeing how it's grown up over the last, how she's grown up into a beautiful young lady now, but still growing all the time. But I can really hear the way that it's grown musically now when I play with AI. So this afternoon, I do know what I'm going to do with Matthew, but there's going to be 3 of us this afternoon, great musicians and 3 AIs, all improvising together. And I think it's maybe one of the first times that this has ever happened. So yeah, I really don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be interesting. So to begin with, I think we were going to start with like a very simple kind of AI that just parrot fashions what I'm playing. But then an AI that learns, generally learns what you're doing as you continue to feed it more information. I kind of thought about it like a plant as well. If you think the more you feed it, the bigger it grows. And so you have to keep on feeding it and feeding it and feeding it, and then it gets more intelligent, more intelligent. And you can hear musically how that happens. So the last piece that part of the performance that me and Matthew do to begin with will demonstrate how far it's come, how far the AI that we've trained has come along. But I use AI for very weird things. I don't know. The other day we were training something on solo piano set that we've got from, 3,000 different solo piano sets of jazz piano players. And I just put the MIDI parts into different synthesizers, and basically ended up writing a Christmas song totally by accident. I've never wanted to write a Christmas song, but it got to about 2 a.m. I was like, I'm writing a Christmas song. So that was really weird. So I like it when it does things that you don't expect still, but I also like it when it does things that you do expect and it learns more, and it's like you can have a conversation with it that you understand more. So 15 years ago, I didn't really understand what I was doing, but it made me improvise in a very different way, in a non-human way, which is interesting. But I wonder if you had that kind of experience as well with the AI 3 years ago. Did you have that sort of experience where you basically, yeah?
We did it like 7 times more,
Yeah.
and every time was better.
Okay.
Yeah, was more interesting to create a dialogue and to go deep inside. But I didn't felt that artistically was better than to explore with another human being.
Just different.
Yeah, different. Yeah, I don't know. To make love with a robot has to be different for sure.
Yeah, maybe you miss the eye contact, maybe.
The AI contact.
No, I don't need the eye contact because I can play with another human being and I don't need to smile. I don't need to see. I don't need to shake hands. Really, it's a connection that it's here, and I'm sure
Absolutely.
that you will have it perhaps this afternoon or in the future, because perhaps your project has been cooked in a very different way than mine in the Sonar, because that project, the AI, it was dependía, it was the creation of 2 persons and a program, and I think it was a little bit primitive. So nowadays, perhaps, especially as you say, if you give it to the AI, and she has recognized a lot of different music, a lot of improvising, a lot of classical, contemporary, jazz, all kind of styles, the string quartets, orchestra works. The AI will be absolutely much clever than me, absolutely. But the result artistically, I need to be interesting. And in my case, it was not really interesting. It was interesting, but for me, as a person who needs to be not only interesting, has to be passionate, or has to be something deep and creatively motivating. Because now I think it's possible, and in the future will be much more possible. But 3 years ago, I felt that it was, let's do it, but I'm not sure.
So it was more a technical skill than the deep capacity of being emotional. The algorithm.
It was not emotional. It was not emotional in any point. I was the emotional part of the project.
Yeah. And how about the emotion in the audience? How do they reacted, and how did you felt it? Because usually, as a fan, music fan, when I'm in a jazz concert, you can feel that point, that moment where the band reach that connection. You can feel it. You don't know where it comes from, but do you feel that the audience catch something from your performance, or you felt them pretty
No, they
distant?
were.
I don't know.
They were there. But they were connecting, especially I think with me, because when I talk with many people, say, "Oof, you had a hard job here." It was not like, okay, let's listen to it another time. It was a kind of strange. It was more near to the experiment, more than let's go to enjoy a concert and to release this experiment in CD or whatever. So after we played in Lisbon, after we played in several cities more, and I was more convinced that we had to organize this as a composition. So the first concert was really random, and the AI could go in any place. But the second, third concert was organized more like a composer, Let's start in this. I will start this, so I want the AI to create a word, but only exploring this, to try to acotando.
Sí.
O sea, como,
to sharpen a little bit.
To try to say, okay, let's start here, because we say, and we stay here 2 minutes. I can try to create and to give something to the people, but we say, and after, and there's not a process, you know.
Like a storytelling.
Like a storytelling, yeah. I need to, especially because we are improvising, and after 5 minutes of really random, it was really difficult to construct a building that it was interesting. So the second, third concert was absolutely much better, and I said, okay, now I'm happy that the people can pay, because I think they will have not only an experience, they will have a very interesting and artistically experience, because I was the only musician, I was the only guy giving the face. So if people pays 20 euros or 30 or 40, they won't destruct the machine, they destruct my face, and they want, you know.
But talking about music creation, do you think this point with the AI, it's a lot more disruptive than it was 50 years ago with the electronic music going into all the other styles?
I think it's learned a lot. I mean, I've seen it grow over 15 years. I don't know, in the last 3 years even, like, there's been massive changes. So it's become, as far as I can tell, much more intelligent, but it doesn't do emotion. And I wonder whether it ever will be able to do emotion or soul, or whether it'll turn up late for a gig, or, you know, or just, I don't know, wear a funny hat. I don't know. I doubt it.
To your question, I think it's we don't have, I think, the distance yet to understand how impactful or disruptive, and I don't like that term, but this is to us, because when sampling came it was quite nothing, or it was a problem for some people, but it started the whole hip-hop scene, and it was all fed. The input was funk, soul music, incredible masterminds, and the like of Quincy Jones being interested in that new era of creation. And then the music industry embraced it, and it is what we know for today. But and electronic, I'm not. You have Jean-Michel Jarre, a French guy, is one of my heroes, and he was one of the pioneers of electronic music. And he said, like, also regarding AI, well, he said, yeah, we've been through a lot of technology disruption or big changes, and to me, AI is nothing more than something that can even challenge us, and for us creators, since we are hackers, or we are we are given a task which is super heavy for us, which is about telling about the future. It's pretty poetic, but sorry. He said, if AI challenges us and reproduce what we know how to do, it's a good news, because us artists, we will be forced to go out of our comfort zone and create the unknown. But it's different than the previous technology. Technology were enabling artists to use new sounds, to assemble them, sample, to steal, and to make it yours. Here, the AI can produce and create things on its own, based on your work. So it's another level, and we don't see yet where it's going to land. But just the principle of it, some artists find it super interesting because it's challenging. Challenge is sometimes interesting, like it forces you to excellence and go to the unknown. But it's also super frightening, because my fear personally is we land in a place where effort is not part of the equation anymore. Curiosity is not part of... No, curiosity, not effort. If we lose curiosity...
That's good or not?
No, it's not good.
No?
If we all become lazy, it's not good. But if it forces us to go beyond, maybe we have a chance to make it work. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting, because for me, when it gets... when it challenges, when an AI makes me uncomfortable, that's where it gets interesting. When it takes me into a place that's very non-human, for example, and then I find that interesting, and it makes me, especially with improvised music, that's where it gets interesting, because if it starts doing, I think it's more interesting when it does its own thing a lot of the time, and I don't understand why we always think that AIs have to behave in a human way, and we always program them to behave as humans, because AIs, although I like calling it she, I think I'm going to start doing that, but it's not human.
I agree. If we want AI to produce hits, we have a problem. So that's,
do you think?
Yes.
Because
the whole system will converge in some way to industrialize what was done yesterday, and we will go in a kind of a super weird bubble. And we already have another bubble effect, which is also linked with AI, but the other side of the equation, which is recommendation systems. Because nowadays we talk about AI for creation, not only here, this panel, but in the industry in general. It's a major topic, and it has to be tackled. But we already have, for 10 years now, AI involved in the way to recommend music to people. And if you connect the two, in the end of one company, two companies, not sure that this is a better place for creativity. If it is led and by artists themselves and a community of innovators who are here for music and not for other purpose, I think we can create super power for artists. But that's a thin line. That's why we need those kind of ecosystem to carry those innovation with values at the core of everything. Anyway, it's important, and it comes from artists with a voice and with the will to express and experiment. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys think that that it seems to me that like sometimes there's more of a monoculture in music, even without AI. But AI could also like be detrimental and enhance a monoculture and flatten everything if we don't use it responsibly. Do you think that's
Yes, and we can also talk, you have better specialists than me in the room, how the AI is trained the data sets. They are mostly in the major Western pop music. They are trained on this music from this part of the world. And that's not a good news, because if you look at the music nowadays, it's a blend of a lot of super cool music from Lagos, from Latin America, super grungy, dirty music from Mexico, and that's cool. But maybe the models of AI are trained maybe differently, and it could lead to some kind of standardization and monoculture, and that's really a big risk. So we've been into value gap before, and AI is still a big. It was mostly debated yesterday. It's a big topic for value, destroying value or raising value. It's a big topic also for diversity and discoverability. So creation of new music, is it diverse, and then can it reach to the people? But yeah, how do we do that? I think it's a big question mark, but I think it's feasible. Yeah.
But this is the key: the standardization or the biodiversity, and the way of a study. Because I'm super interested in that, because nowadays and many years before, we have the big problem of what's music and what's industry. So when you study music, when you give all your life to practice, to study, to become a musician, to learn how to write a string quartet arrangement or orchestral thing, in the future anybody will study this. If it's so easy to say, can you create me a beautiful arrangement or orchestra of this song? Perhaps it will be so easy like that.
Do you think it will do that? Because at the moment, if you ask AI to write a string quartet, it just sounds flat. No matter how many string quartets, and you can hear. For me, like if I hear something that's totally AI composed, I'm like, that's. It's like if I see a painting that's AI, I'm like, that's AI.
Yeah, for now.
But do you think that's going to change in the future?
But why in the literature some prix has been won by somebody who has wrote a novel with AI and after with his, but something like this I heard that
The thing is that it might come that point where listening to a piece of music composed and produced, which is different by AI, it will be, that's pretty cool.
Especially in some kind of music.
I don't know. We are not there yet. Absolutely not. But the problem is also the evolution of the people ears and taste, and it's part of the bigger picture of AI on the side of recommendation and AI on the side of creation. And if you mix the two, and people get used to the same sound, and so they can feel, oh, that's cool. And it's not. And then it's a debate of taste.
So, okay, how is an AI going to learn taste, and what is taste?
Oh gosh,
how is an AI going to learn originality?
You have 3 days. Taste. Let's respect usage. I would say let's respect the audience, because usually they have the final cut. Right now, it's a lot about trap and hip-hop everywhere on the planet. Some people may not like it, but somehow...
But in the exponential growth and learning of the AI about the music technique and everything from the humankind, do you think in some point, not very far from here or from now, you could ask for ChatGPT to play a song like Finn playing the flute and Marco the piano, and probably Yvan
and me
singing
the guitar, yeah.
or the guitar. And do you think in some point it will be
without us being
with
in
a
the
good
same
level?
room?
So we don't have to turn up to the gig. We can stay at home, basically.
Yeah, staying at home. You see, so you mean we each of us, we train the AI on our own skills?
Yeah, and are you comfortable about training the AI tech enterprises?
Very much, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, if it can lead to something incredible, and also that people can then adopt and mold in their own way. It's weird as an idea, but it could be interesting if we make it creative at the very beginning. yes, it will raise a lot of problems in terms of copyright, but we have technology to solve technology problems, by the way, and you have a lot of good startups in Barcelona developing also copyright management technology, BMAT and others. So technology can be also the solution to make it work for the rights. But as an example, before being part of Music Tech Europe, I was involved in a project led by a musician in France called André Manoukian. He's a pianist, jazz master, he's a genius, and he created a startup to create AI generative music, but out of real piece of music, snippets of music, like a real 2 seconds of trumpet, 2 seconds of voice, 2 seconds of bass, everything into an AI, pretty crazy. And one of the ideas, we approached a big movie studio with super big franchise like Star Wars, whatever. And one of the ideas was, hey, what if we could use the theme, the anthem of a legendary thing, or it could be a Total Camp, or whatever, and you make it specific to each region of the world, with a flavor of Thailand drums, gamelan music, and Trinidad steel band. They said, that's weird, no. But I thought it pretty cool. It was like, and AI can do it. If the start comes from the creators themselves, I think it's great. If you let the audience experience the music their way. But if it has to start with your... But some artists will argue, no way, my piece of music is one, and it will remain one. I think it's a matter of choice. What we need to find as a framework is a place where artists have the choice to say, I'm in, I'm not. I'm open to everything, I'm not. My music is only on stage or not. So that's why we need copyright, but also we need innovation to be enabled so artists have a choice. I don't know if it is clear, but many opportunities if we find the right framework. Yeah.
I'm happy because I didn't know if you were more afraid than motivated, and I think you are in the kind of positive side, full of hopes more than fears, talking about AI in music.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I think it's amazing. I don't really understand why people are scared of AI in music. I just think there's so many possibilities, and it's, for me anyway, it's teaching me how to think about music in a different way. And I'm not even that interested in the musicians, and I'm more interested in what AI is going to do in the future by itself, musically, and how we can learn from that. And I think people are learning from AIs. I think people are already behaving more like AIs already, and the biofeedback loop's really interesting. Do you know what I mean? That interests me a lot, and yeah, I can understand that. And I also don't think that AIs will ever replace certain musicians. I don't think I'll ever get replaced by an AI, but I will possibly learn to change the way that I think about music. I already am actually learning from AIs and how they think musically, and it's making me think in a different way. And that biofeedback thing's really interesting, especially if you're improvising, right?
So in a way, you feel also learning from the AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when you work with another kind of creators, perhaps when you work with a dancer, with a painter, and it's very interesting to see what will happen and what can expect. But really, it's because at the end, mainly in my case, I'm a musician that plays in live. I play here in 2 days, or I play a solo concert in February here in this place. So I have this feeling I want to give the most beautiful sound and energy and a travel for everybody that is here. So at the end, I trust in this. I trust to create something that has this power, this emotional. If we can arrive with this amazing tool that it's the AI, if we can arrive to the same place or more in a very emotional way, in a very intense and expressive way, okay, I'm done. I'm here. I'm in. But if it's not, I will still I will still think that we have to still create more things and to use it in a very clever way. Sometimes can be a very specific way. Sometimes it's more experimental or to discover what can inspire me, this improvising case. Perhaps, as you said, it's more interesting as an improviser more than a composer nowadays, but let's see in 10 years, perhaps a composition, a contemporary composition, it's more interesting in a AI composer. I don't know, because the most difficult thing for me is that people is forgetting how to listen, and people is not educating very deeply to feel what is music, real music, and what's not real music. I played in China 2 months ago, and my concert was with Chicuelo, with a great flamenco guitar player, one of them, and the poster said, really musicians in life. They had to put that we were real musicians in life.
Organic music.
No robots.
I took a photo because it was amazing. It was because they are more used to go in this situation, collective situation. Nowadays, they are more common to listen CD music or Spotify music, wherever, or to do karaoke. But they are not used to stay 1 hour and a half listening and watching 3 guys playing. So this is happening now. This is not something strange. This is China in Beijing or in Xi'an or in Shanghai. So I'm a little bit scared because what I can expect of my public in 20 years, if I play in Germany, if I play in France, in whatever place, at the most important jazz festivals around, the mainly public is 50, 60, 70. There are not guys of 30 years. Normally, there are places, of course, yes, but you know, it's
maybe it will change the narrative, and then we'll sell you in 20 years in China as the best rider of the dragon monster in music with his piano or whatever.
I don't know. It will be interesting.
Oh yes, the dragon. Yeah, we discussed that backstage, right? 2 days ago I was in Paris. So about fears and being positive or not. I'm quite positive, but there are still some risk at stake, and it's our role to make it work. So 2 days ago I was in Paris and the guy I told, the musician, the jazz musician doing a startup, he was on stage talking about AI and the importance of improvisation, by the way, because AI is pretty much about reproducing what we know, which is not improvisation, but it could lead to improvisation. And at the end, he said, okay, he brought a really interesting metaphor, and I will leave you on that. It's Saint George, so Chandordi here, didn't kill the dragon. I was like, yeah, what? He was mastering the dragon and extracting his energy to give him more powers. And we are artists, we are Saint George, and the dragon is AI. So we need to ride the dragon, and this is what is at stake. And let's be brave. I was like, ooh, I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but I share that with you. And my take is, to do this, we should not, it's not about only the artist and the dragon or the she. It's a community thing, it's an ecosystem thing. The really positive signal I see when I travel to the different hubs we got in Music Tech Europe, so it's 11 countries. Everywhere we have that conversation, and not only a conversation, we have startups working with labels, working with venues, working with artists, working with research centers. It's based on ethics. They want to make it good. So we have the people, we have the talent, but we need to do it, how to say that, now, fast. Because there are some other dragons that are not motivated by the same kind of, driven by the same motivations. So it's about creativity, but creativity, it's about us. So let's do it. Let's produce more experiments. Let's do more crazy stuff in venues, in festivals, to try and fail and try again and make it work. And we have no other choices. Otherwise, the dragon will take over. And yeah, that's my takeaway. Yeah.
Do you guys think that certain kinds of music are better with AI, that work better with AI?
For now, the only one I saw interesting it was more the background stuff that was super cool with AI. Right. But musically, I never saw 2 weeks ago, I was in Milano to another conference of our network, and we had the first ever quantum music demo. It was terrible. Sorry.
How
because the input.
Why?
Because the input was terrible.
Because the input was terrible.
How does it sound like
nothing,
quantum music?
No, it was not about. The problem was not the quantum music. The guy who was performing, he's a genius. He's a mastermind in tech and music. But the chords he played were already really difficult, so the output was horrible. So everyone in the room was like, "Oh, this is AI in music." No. And so let's avoid that. Let's create some stuff that are inspirational, like you do. I cannot be there this afternoon, so I'm so. Anyway, you see what I mean? It's again, it's on us to make the inspiration. As a main driver, I'm sometimes not positive because I'm a dad. To see if my kids they lose this curiosity to discover, to try. But the good news is with AI, they can try every instrument they want. They can learn music maybe faster than me, and that is great. But we need education and we need some kind of anyway.
Have you enjoyed something deeply listening?
Yeah, I mean,
have you experienced something? Yeah,
because
some
stuff. I'm not so used. I did this project, but I still go to concerts of that. I haven't experienced a lot of that, so I'm super interested in the experience.
No, me neither. I mean, only the stuff that I've done with Matthew and various bits, but I think it's pretty new. I think like working with musicians and AI is quite a new thing. But I also think, like, I don't know whether you guys remember when synthesizers came around in the 80s or whatever, and everybody was like, oh, all the keyboard players were like, oh no, we'll never work, or drum machines, and all the drummers were like, oh no, drum machines, you know. But actually what happened was like a whole load of different kind of music came around, and I think hopefully it's the same thing with AI. So I understand that people are scared of it, but actually loads of interesting stuff's going to come out, I think, and it probably already is. I haven't heard it.
I haven't noticed any interesting yet, but maybe you'll be the first.
Maybe this afternoon. Let's see.
I will be gone to the airport, but I'll come back for you.
You know what? These are real people that they may have something to ask or comment if you want. Tenim uns minuts si voleu intervenir, fer unes preguntes. Veiem allà una mà aixecada al fons. I tenim una estoneta de debat abans de la propera taula.
In English, right? So hi, I'm Sumaya. I'm from the magazine Contracultural, and I'm also a DJ. So this is really interesting to me, to see the intersections of all these issues. And I want to build up on your last metaphor, Sant Jordi, and the dragon. I think it's perfect because it's literally also what is happening in this panel. It's Jordi. And which means it's almost always Jordi that is training what you talked about, Yves, no? The AI, the algorithm, etc. And there is a clear ethnocentrism, white ethnocentrism on music. What we see in the recommendations, what we see, everything is happening in this panel, in other panels, and what is actually letting behind a lot of people, and not just in Mexico, but in Asia, in Africa, and their music, the risk, what you said before, I don't see why we are afraid of that. We are afraid of that because we are already, in other parts of the world, we are already in places where our music seems not that important or seems just to be a decoration, a folklore for many people and for many societies. That it's word music. So many types of music are music because they are mostly made here, around here, or in the Western world, and everything else is world music, mostly, and most of the time. In festivals, we can see that. So the risk, and the clear risk, is that we are reproducing with all of this bias, again and again, with a technology that is going really quickly and leaving behind the same people, mostly women, mostly people outside of the Western world, and it's a clear danger. And it is really scary for me because it feels like we are not doing better. Or some of us will do better, as usual, in history, and the rest of us no. So, yeah.
Can you see yourself DJing out an AI piece in the future?
Why not? But on that, recently there is like this Saudi UK DJ called Nuria, who is really hitting the floors, international floors right now. And she went to a professional event of Pioneer, where they presented their new tech, all of kind of techs they are working on right now. And she went there and she was like, I can see, I don't have that much experience than her, but she's been there for 10 years. So she said, I can see clearly that there are cultural, let's say, music-wise bias in your technology, and most of your technology does not cater to our kind of musics, our sounds, and how to make it possible, and to play that much with AI or with technology you are trying to propose and to offer to the world. And they basically told her, well, that's not our priority, and that's Pioneer. So I can see myself, I hope so, I'd love to play with all of this, but I'm not optimistic if it's Pioneer, or DJ-wise at least, is saying to an international Saudi DJ that it's not their priority to cater to our kind of music or to music that is not, between brackets, white music.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bring an important point. I brought that before, I think. So, so bias, potential problems with diversity. I'm part of the advisory board of an EU project about discoverability of European works in the digital era. It's European, so it's still already biased, but you need to start somewhere because we have a lot of countries represented in culture and different music, like turbo pop in Hungary, whatever. And it's a big challenge. And the thing is that also it's our role with the music tech hubs to pass those messages to the innovators. And guys, you first, don't pretend you're going to save whoever, artist or the industry. Two, you're not fixing anything. But three, please try to do it right. So sustainability, equality, and potentially efforts, not against bias. Even if you look at me, I'm part of the problem, if you like, but I think I'm not. So because we need people to push the envelope and say it has to be done properly. And it's more nuanced than maybe it seems, because there is a lot of things going on in a lot of countries and regions in the world, and a lot of even major companies of music believe and some and are really developing their presence in many countries, trying to understand the emerging styles of music, and they already take that into account. You have a lot of producers from Lagos, you have a lot of producers that are number 1 to 4 in the top global charts, who are not from the US. So it's already happening, but not the way we would like to see. Not yet, but it has to be said, yes.
Alguna pregunta o comentari més abans d'acabar i anar a un coffee break i després al següent panel? Ah, sí, aquí a primera fila tenim una matxacada.
Thanks a lot. I'm learning a lot from you, so thank you to be here. I'm really interested in knowing how do you perceive the challenge or the risk of being a distinguished musician related by AI, or maybe it could be better to be like the rest of the musicians. I mean, are you interested in being apart from them, or maybe it could be better to the public to be, because I'm, as a citizen, I don't care the tool you use. It's like music, everything. If it's something that it's giving some reaction to me, it's fine. I don't care. What do you think about it? How do you perceive that risk or challenge? Thank you.
Do you mean that the AI will replace live musicians? Is that what you mean? Will an AI? I don't think AIs will replace live musicians ever. I just can't see it. I don't know what you guys think.
Could be another instrument, or
I hope no, but
it's not going to happen.
No. It has to be like you said. It's another tool of creation, another tool of communication, and I think what you said it was very interesting. Like industry and all this doesn't have to be a monster. Has to be something that we have to control. We have to control the things. If we can't control it, it's a problem. It will be a problem. But I have a beautiful hope. But really, I am a hope like a musician. I'm not un empresario or something that I'm not Elon Musk. So I can't say what will happen in 30 years. But I really see this process. I see that the non-live, real live music, it's happening. So we went to China and we were the only real musicians all that week in this kind of places, in the jazz clubs, in the festivals. So it's happening now. In 30 years, I don't know. Perhaps, well, we have only to see. I love las verbenas. I love verbenas. Now we don't have verbenas. We have verbenas. It's the folk or the band that in the parties in your town or in the village, they were playing until 6 in the morning, and you are drunk and dancing, all the covers, and that band was. Now we have DJ. We have DJ.
or Spotify, that it's
or
cheaper.
Spotify DJ. They have an AI
for me. It's not better. For me, the DJ and the Spotify has replaced musicians. And when at the council they say, oh, hey, we have 10,000 euros, we can choose, or let's pay a band, or 2 or 3 bands and an orchestra, or let's pay 1 DJ. This is happening, so I'm not happy about that.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a big question because there are a lot of dimensions to it. First, I think you raised it properly, the audience choice. And I think the industry, not the artist, and maybe even institutions. So I think the cultural sector and the policy people and the industry, until recently, they ignore pretty much the audience. To me, whether it was top-down or labels that they try to be super marketing-driven. The audience was not part of the equation, and how they react, as they adopt. At the end of the day, this is based on their decisions that the show can happen, right? And then there is the economic constraints. Maybe so it's about the taste of the people, and if you have a choice, €10, you have 10,000. What do you do? And since live music is under a huge pressure because the inflation and also sustainability concern, and yes, there might be some pressure to lower down the budgets, but I don't feel that the audience. Hopefully, I hope my kids will still love to go in the mosh pit and have some fun watching some pretty gifted guitarist even failing and smiling and having fun. So I think that will not be replaced. It's more a cultural thing than an economic thing. But who knows? Because the kids are on Fortnite all day long, but I'm pretty confident. Live music will remain, and we need, by the way, to talk more about live music and AI because it's a topic that is never touched in any conferences. And because we always talk about copyright and it's super important, I'm not saying, but live music is as much important, and it's about jobs. It's not about rights, what is at stake. Anyway.
I think what you're saying about responsibility is really important as well, and that's not just me. That's audiences. That's everybody, and everybody needs to take responsibility for this. It's a really good point.
Yeah.
Temps per a una última, si voleu. Alguna última pregunta, comentari? No? Sí? Doncs per la cantonada al final.
Hi everyone, I'm Gonçal Calvo from BMAT. I think that nobody is questioning the creative potential of AI. You are early adopters of AI in music. But then I would like to ask you, how do you feel when AI models are trained with your inputs that can eventually replace you? How's your feeling on what's your position on that?
I've got no problem with it. I don't think it'll ever replace me, and I've got no problem on training AIs to learn all my music language. And actually, I think it's a really good tool for learning, to teaching. I think AI can be a really good teaching tool, and it can be used in that way. And I think that's something we can discuss as well. I don't know about you. But
I agree. I hope it will be in the future like this, a great tune of teaching, learning, and after to find the good balance to say, okay, like ChatGPT, you can have it as a good tool, but if you are a teacher of students and you permit that everybody only use that and they don't develop their own possibilities, we have a problem, and we will have big problems in every place, in the design, in the architect, and in every not only in the creative musically thing, in todos los campos.
A quick input to your question. I think it's pretty rare, special to hear two artists stating this on stage. If you look at some kind of global feedbacks from the artist community, there was a report, it's really interesting one by TuneCore. It's an artist distribution platform. They did a survey among their thousands and thousands of artists using their tool about AI. How do they feel about it? And I think a small majority of them are not afraid, but they want their copyright to be respected, and they feel it is important. And also, it was interesting, they see AI as a tool for many other stuff, marketing purpose, build image on top of their music and other use. But when it comes to copyright, they're still worried about it, not afraid about it, but worried about it. And there was lately, in April this year, there was a huge, big campaign started in the US by the Artist Coalition. It was 200 artists, big artists, Billie Eilish and Aerosmith and big names. They signed a letter to say, we want our right to be respected, but you can argue that it's big artists want their right to be respected, but what about the emerging ones? So because maybe they want to be raised through AI. So it's a big question. Me, I'm in favor of copyright protection, but it's not a contradiction. That's I think where the solution is. We need to find a way where copyright protect, but also enables those guys to help innovators to do new things and other artists to use their work. So maybe I hope BMAT will be part of that. We should find a solution to enable it, the use of AI in an ethical and protected way. There are some initiatives like Fairly Trained and AI OK standards to approve fairly trained models. It's just the beginning, but we are on the way, and I think it's positive, yeah.
Yvan Boudillet, Marco Mezquida, and Finn Peters, thank you very much for being here, and enjoy your show this afternoon with the musicians, real musicians and the AI. Ara coffee break i no marxeu perquè després tenim un panel molt interessant sobre la intel·ligència artificial en la indústria musical i us puc avançar que tindrem aquí a Matías Birkel, Senior Manager de Gold Media, Xavier Serra, director de Music Technology Group de la UPF, Amaya Ramon Gómez, Senior Manager Legal and Business Affairs de Sony Music Publishing i estarà moderada per Jordi Herreruela, president de la Barcelona Music Lab Foundation i director del Festival Cruïlla. Moltíssimes gràcies per assistir a aquesta. Aneu comentant-la en xarxa, si voleu, amb el hashtag de les jornades Música IA i per aquí ens veiem ara en el Coffee Break. Moltes gràcies.